A 70-year-old grandfather and retired firefighter spends the day puttering around the house.
Everything was very normal. You would kind of expect my papa to just be outside around the corner.
When he suddenly vanishes, his loved ones are thrown into a panic.
You're not really thinking you're never gonna see him again. He's gone.
Everything felt wrong. Going on with normal life felt very, very wrong.
A bloody crime scene that at first glance seems clear-cut.
My thoughts were that somebody had hit him in the head and had taken him.
But as mysteries mount, his loved ones raise questions close to home.
If you tell me a lie, I'll be suspicious of everything that comes out of your mouth.
Leaving a divided family reeling.
This has been our entire life, every thought. You know, you can't go to bed without thinking about him.
We all want to know what happened to Dad.
Friday, March 10th, 2017. 70-year-old Michael Chambers is spending a quiet morning in the Dallas suburb of Quinlan, Texas, with his wife, Becca.
Dad and Becca always seem to enjoy one another's company. They're affectionate and funny, and it was just, I thought, a perfect marriage.
After being together for 37 years, Michael knows the key to keeping his wife happy.
It's no secret that Dad spoiled Becca. He doted on her, from opening the doors to making the coffee, to fixing the breakfast, to making the dinner. He was very loving, very loving.
Mike was too good of a husband, and I would tell him that. I wouldn't tell him that because he was making me look bad. I would tell him that because he would treat his wife like a queen.
Known lovingly as Papa, Michael is the patriarch of a large blended family.
My sister and I were from Dad's first marriage. After that marriage ended, he married Becca, and they adopted John when he was 1 day old. And then 4 years later, they adopted Justin.
To his 4 children, 9 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandkids, Michael sets the bar high as a family man.
Dad would throw you up in the air. You never doubted he was going to catch you.
Mike was the kind of guy that cared about his daughters, his grandkids. Both of his sons would do anything for them, would give up anything for them.
Papa, he was there for any event that you called him to. All the birthdays, all the graduations, everything, to support you. So proud of you. He's always there no matter what I need him for.
At family events, Dad would cook the meal. He would hold the babies. He'd be the center of attention with the kiddos. Just the epitome of a good grandfather.
Michael was a Dallas firefighter for 36 years, and his decades of public service have left him well respected in the community.
He loved being a firefighter. He was proud of being a firefighter. Had a lot of stories.
When I was a child, I remember seeing Dad's picture in the paper where he had delivered a baby up on the overpass of a highway in Dallas.
Since retiring from the Dallas Fire Department in 2008, Michael has more time for another passion.
My grandfather loves classic cars. He loves working on them. A lot of the time he works on them with my dad. They go to car shows. All of their friends are car buddies.
Michael belongs to a classic car club in Quinlan, known as the Texas Most Wanted. They meet at least once a week to show off their newest restorations. Michael and his son-in-law David spent a year restoring a classic 1970 Plymouth Satellite.
I mean, we just enjoyed spending time with each other. It was almost like partially a father-son relationship, but then it was also a good friend relationship.
Besides family and cars, Michael's heart belongs to God.
Growing up, Dad was a deacon in the church.
Church was important to him. He was a believer.
Hunt County Sheriff Randy Meeks is a fellow congregant with Michael and a friend.
I was a Sunday school teacher at First Baptist Church, and Michael and his wife, Becca, were in my Sunday school class. We all had a good time learning the Word of God.
Michael expresses his faith by singing in a gospel band called the Joint Heirs Quartet.
They would sing a lot at nursing homes. They'd sing in churches. He loved it.
On that Friday morning in March, Michael says goodbye to his wife as she leaves for work and gets ready for his day.
That day, it looked like he was just kind of piddling on the old cars, and he had talked about going back in the back of the property and cutting some firewood.
Michael is also looking forward to spending time with his family the following day.
Dad was planning to go to his grandson's soccer game the next day.
That evening at 5:50 p.m., Michael's wife, Becca Chambers, is just leaving her job as a home health aide. She texts Michael to let him know she'll see him shortly, but he never responds. 20 minutes later, Becca arrives home and sees that Michael's truck is in the driveway, but the house is dark.
He didn't open the garage door for her, which he usually would. He didn't come out and carry in her bag, which he usually would. She couldn't find him when she called out for him.
Becca calls Michael's cell phone, but it goes straight to voicemail. The situation feels very out of the ordinary, so she reaches out to family members.
Becca called to say, "Do you know where your dad is?" She sounded anxious about it. You don't expect someone to actually be missing. Maybe he's helping a friend, maybe somebody needed something.
He's really predictable. You almost always know where he's at, and if you don't, you can check 2 other places and he's at one of them. So to hear that nobody knew where he was just unsettling.
Becca remembers that earlier in the day, Michael had mentioned going to the back of the property to cut some firewood.
So she was thinking, well, maybe he's out, somewhere on the land doing that.
Dad's home sits on 10 acres. It's pretty heavily wooded.
Becca recruits her neighbors, Barry and Sandra Paris, who are also part of the extended family, to help her look for Michael.
I don't think they went very far back there, but they did check around their house and nobody could find him.
Next, they check Michael's garage, where he works on his classic cars.
She says she went to the shop. The shop was locked. So she got the keys. And he wasn't in there.
The 3 family members start to become concerned. Some items on the counter tell Becca that Michael had been in his shop that day, perhaps very recently.
She noticed that his wallet, his cap, his keys were there.
Everything was very normal. You would kind of expect my papa to just be outside around the corner.
Then, Becca looks deeper in the garage, and in an instant, her worry about her husband escalates.
There was blood on the floor.
Becca's neighbor and family member, Barry Paris, is the retired chief of police in the neighboring city of Greenville, and he has a bad feeling about the scene. At 6:55 p.m., he dials 911.
Barry was alarmed by the blood. He's an experienced law enforcement officer, and I think that gave him quite concern.
Within the hour, a Hunt County Sheriff's deputy arrives at the scene.
We have a lot of drug problems, mainly methamphetamines. Of course, that leads up to thefts and all kinds of other crimes because of the use of methamphetamines.
The deputy looks for any signs that Michael could have been the victim of a robbery.
His wallet was there, but his driver's license was missing out of the wallet. That was very odd to us, that only his driver's license would be missing.
There's also no cash in Michael's wallet. Nothing else in the shop appears to be disturbed.
Dad had valuable things in the shop, things much more valuable than a little bit of cash that he would have had in his wallet. There were tools like crazy, one of the easiest things to pawn that there is.
Michael also kept a 12-gauge shotgun in his garage.
The shotgun had not been touched, moved, or fired at all.
When the sheriff's deputy looks in Michael's truck parked outside the shop, he finds a considerable amount of cash in the console, around $1,000. Sheriff Randy Meeks arrives on the scene and comes to the same conclusion as his deputy.
It did not appear like a robbery to me.
And other than the blood on the floor, there's no sign of a struggle.
I've been on several crime scenes and where there's quite a bit amount of blood, and this was a real minimum amount of blood.
It didn't look like there was enough blood for anything fatal, certainly. Did he cut his hand? Did he have a nosebleed? Law enforcement at first thought maybe he hit himself in the head and is disoriented somewhere.
But then, police notice something that quickly changes their theory.
There was a dowel rod that looked like it had bloody prints on it.
The wooden stick appears to have been used as a weapon. For Sheriff Meeks, the scene is quickly adding up to foul play.
My thoughts were that somebody had hit him in the head with the dowel rod and had taken him.
'70-year-old retired firefighter Michael Chambers vanished from his home, and bloody evidence found in his garage seems to point to a violent scenario preceding his disappearance. But who would have wanted to harm Michael?
I cannot see him having any enemies.
As police secure the evidence from the garage for testing, deputies fan out across the Chambers' 10-acre property on foot. The Sheriff's Department requests that all available resources be deployed in the search for Michael.
We had called the Department of Public Safety. They have a flare unit on their helicopter. It detects heat, so if there was somebody there, it would detect them.
Sheriff Meeks pings Michael's cell phone and learns that the phone is turned off or dead. The last tower communication occurred at 5:50 p.m.
The results were given around West Tawakoni, around the Lake Tawakoni area.
Lake Tawakoni is a 20-minute drive southwest of the current search efforts. Deputies and the helicopter with the infrared unit shift to that location as family members arrive at the Chambers house.
By the time I got there, there were many, many police vehicles. There were people everywhere. It felt surreal.
You're not really thinking you're never going to see him again. You're really thinking we're going to find him and we're going to know what's happened or what's wrong, but you're not really thinking he's gone.
By midnight, the massive search has turned up nothing.
When we went to bed that night and we still hadn't found him, there was just an uneasy emptiness.
You didn't feel right going to sleep because you didn't know if he had a place to sleep. Everything felt wrong. Going on with normal life felt very, very wrong.
The next morning, investigators start to piece together a timeline of Michael's last known movements. His wife, Becca, tells them everything she knows about her husband's plans, including some new information.
Becca said that she had asked Dad to grab her some mascara from Walmart. The items were in the house. They were where you would expect them to be, and it appeared that he had just brought them back as normal.
Walmart was able to show us the tape where he made the purchase.
Security video shows Michael in his signature Dallas Fire Department t-shirt and hat, paying for items at 11 a.m.
He looked completely normal. He didn't look anxious. He wasn't walking quickly. He just looked like Dad on any other day.
And then we also have the footage of him getting in his pickup truck and leaving the Walmart in Quinlan, headed back in the direction to his home. We looked for somebody maybe following him. When he left the parking lot, didn't see anybody at all.
Investigators already know Michael made it home from the Walmart, but they wonder if he stopped anywhere else along the way.
We checked with all the different stores on his route that maybe had video cameras towards the road. Nothing showed up on those at all. We canvassed the neighborhood. Nobody else saw him.
Hunt County calls in a team of bloodhounds to search Michael's property. They start at his workshop and quickly pick up on Michael's scent.
We noticed they kept going to one area by the road, one area, constantly. Right on the corner of his property, there's a drainage ditch there, a big culvert big enough for a man to walk underneath that culvert, or somebody to carry somebody underneath there so that they don't have to cross the road and nobody sees them. And it leads straight to a large pond. So naturally we're thinking, okay, somebody was here with Mike. Mike was a very friendly guy. Mike would have his garage doors open. People would stop by and see his cars in there and just stop by and talk to him, and Mike would talk to him.
I called in our game warden, and they came and drugged that area of water and also used a sonar system to check and see if there was a body in there, and none was found.
As word of Michael's disappearance spreads throughout the community, the already considerable search effort ramps up.
A lot of his friends from the fire department wanted to come and help. We also had a professional team of searchers. We probably had between 100 and 150 people searching the areas.
2 separate dive teams search Lake Tawakoni, where Michael's cell phone last pinged.
It's a little difficult to search, but we feel like he's not in Lake Tawakoni. We've ruled that out.
For Sheriff Randy Meeks, finding Michael Chambers is a very personal undertaking. 3 days after Michael goes missing, the sheriff delivers a heartfelt plea for the public's help.
I've never known a more devout Christian man than Michael Chambers. I trust him with my life. I am really torn because we don't have any answers, and it's just tearing us apart.
The sheriff isn't the only one struggling with the mystery. Michael's grandchildren miss their papa terribly and hold out hope that he's still alive.
I called my grandfather's cell phone so many times. I knew that he always answered my call, and I felt like one of them he would eventually pick up.
6 days after Michael's disappearance, his family offers a $25,000 reward for any information that leads to finding him. To gather the tips, they set up a Facebook page called Bring Papa Home. But as the family searches for answers, some raise suspicions close to home.
They were quite concerned about Justin. Matter of fact, they said we needed to look at Justin.
31-year-old Justin Chambers, the youngest of Michael's children, lives 2 hours away in Granbury, Texas.
There had been some rift between him and Michael, and also between him and the rest of the family. And they felt like Justin might have had something to do with Michael's disappearance at that time.
One week after his mysterious disappearance, some members of Michael Chambers' family begin to raise questions about 31-year-old Justin, the youngest of Michael's 4 children.
My brother Justin had been in and out of foster care as a young child. My dad and Becca adopted him out of that system when he was 4.
Over time, family members say the relationship between father and son had become strained.
Every time Justin would call, it would always have to do with money and try to guilt Mike into, well, if I don't get this, I'm gonna be kicked out of my place. So Mike would give in. And this went on for years.
But Michael's son-in-law, David, says that recently, his father-in-law had reached his breaking point.
Within the past 6 months before Mike's disappearance, Mike had totally quit. He said, I'm done with this. It's time for him to take care of himself.
Some in the family say that Justin didn't take well to his father's new attitude.
And then from what I understood, he would call and get belligerent with Mike, make threats, make all kind of, I hate you, Dad, and things like that.
Police interview Justin, and he tells them his issues with his father are more complex than just friction over money. But despite the tension between them, he says he would never hurt Michael. Justin also says there's no way he could have. He was at work all day on March 10th.
We were able to verify his alibi that he was at work that Friday that Michael Chambers went missing.
Later that same day, Sheriff Meeks hears from the lab processing the DNA evidence collected in Michael's garage.
The results came back as the blood on the floor of the shop and the dowel rod belonged to Michael Chambers.
The sheriff's office brings in a blood spatter expert to examine the crime scene. Something about the color and the pattern of blood droplets hasn't sat right with investigators from the beginning.
If you are cut or you're hurt or you're hit over the head and blood is dropping to the ground, it's going to splatter. There's no splatter to it at all. It's perfectly round drops.
There was two perfect circles.
There's no movement to it. It's just like straight down drips.
And what the expert concludes completely changes the direction of the case.
The blood expert felt like that blood was staged to make it look like a possible kidnapping or an abduction of some kind.
The expert also says the bright red color of the blood could indicate the presence of an anticoagulant.
Like when they take blood from you at the doctor's office at the hospital, there's anticoagulant in there so that the blood won't clot.
The expert speculates that the blood had been preserved in a vial and then intentionally spattered to simulate a crime scene.
That has been a puzzle to me, who would stage a crime scene. The murderer would want to clean up a crime scene.
It's a mystery to Michael's loved ones, too. But soon, the unexpected behavior of another family member begins to give some of them more cause for concern. On March 20th, 10 days after Michael disappeared, his wife Becca makes a change to her cell phone service.
The cell phone plan had Becca, my dad, and my younger brother, Justin, on that plan. And Becca took Justin's phone off of that plan and suspended Dad's service at that time. It was a short amount of time, and that raised a lot of controversy.
Last thing I would want to do is cancel phone service, because the phone could really be the thing that gives us the evidence we need as to where he is.
But according to Michael's family, Becca has her reasons.
The finances were a concern. She hadn't had to handle these things herself and was apprehensive about what she was going to do.
People act differently in situations. You're gonna act different, I'm gonna act different to the same situation. So I could understand that.
The financial reasons made sense to me, that she would try to save as much money as she could.
But just 4 weeks later, in April, Michael's wife makes another decision that upsets some family members.
Michael's truck was just in his name and not her name. And she was wanting to sell it because she was having to keep up the payments on it and couldn't afford it.
In order to sell the truck, Becca says she has to obtain a temporary death certificate for Michael.
This is 5 weeks after Dad had disappeared. I was very much against it, very much against it. I just couldn't see declaring Dad dead 5 weeks after he was missing.
According to Susie, Becca says it's just a formality that would give her the right to sell Michael's property as needed for income.
Everything in me thought that was the wrong way to go, but it wasn't my decision to make.
Another month passes with no further developments in the case. Then, in May, a polygrapher from the Texas Department of Public Safety becomes available to aid Hunt County in their investigation. Police start to call in members of the Chambers family for polygraph exams.
We wanted to make sure there was no connection there with his disappearance, the people that he was the closest to.
The FBI also collaborates on the polygraph of Michael's son, Justin.
He was very willing to take that. And as a matter of fact, we polygraphed him twice, and he passed both times. So we eliminated him as a suspect.
1 month later, Becca Chambers is also asked to submit to a polygraph, and she agrees. But police learn there's something in particular she doesn't appear to want to talk about that they believe could be relevant to the case.
Becca was very hesitant to discuss that there could have been some possible extramarital affairs while she was married to Michael.
I was shocked.
Three months after 70-year-old Michael Chambers went missing, Hunt County Sheriff's investigators polygraph his wife, Becca, who admits to having an extramarital affair.
I didn't believe it at first.
I was hurt and I was angry that Dad had been disrespected that way.
Becca tells investigators that the relationship ended 5 months before Michael went missing. And she believes her husband knew about the infidelity, but she says he never directly confronted her about it. The revelation makes Michael's daughter Susie wonder if Becca could be hiding something else.
Anytime someone is untruthful with me on one point, I wonder what else they're untruthful with me on. If you tell me a lie, I'll be suspicious of everything that comes out of your mouth.
But Becca says she had nothing to do with her husband's disappearance. And investigators find that she's being truthful.
Becca did pass the polygraph.
Just because you had an affair, it doesn't mean you're a murderer. However, it opens doors to other people because of that affair.
Police call Becca's alleged lover in for questioning. They say he admits to the affair, but has an alibi for the day Michael vanished.
He had no participation in the disappearance of Michael Chambers. And there was nothing to it other than the affair.
Detectives don't consider the man or Becca Chambers to be involved in Michael's disappearance. Then, on July 12th, 3 months after Michael went missing, his daughter Susie is at work when she gets a startling Facebook message.
On the Bring Peppa homepage, someone claimed to know where Dad's body was. He claimed to have gotten the information from a friend of his, and I said, have him call me.
Within a few minutes, the tipster calls Susie and says that Michael Chambers was murdered, and more than one person is involved.
He proceeded to tell me that Becca and another man had done this. He gave me the address of the property where the body was.
Susie immediately calls Sheriff Meeks, who says he questions the credibility of Susie's source.
When we found out who the tip was from, he is a convicted felon. There is a $25,000 reward for information leading to finding of Michael Chambers. He was interested in that $25,000 reward.
Based on the results of Becca's polygraph, the sheriff discounts the tipster's alleged intel on Becca Chambers. But despite his lack of confidence in the information, the sheriff knows that every tip needs to be fully investigated.
We still had to search the area just to make sure. Then we were unable to find anything at all.
The next day, on July 13th, investigators become aware of more discord within the Chambers family.
We got called to Becca's home. Justin had showed up. He was very angry about Becca cutting his phone off.
Becca had said that she was afraid about Justin. I don't really know a good reason that she should have been, but that she was going to take out a protective order.
That does seem odd to me, that all of a sudden they're at odds about her cutting off his cell phone service.
But Susie says her brother Justin told her that the conflict with Becca wasn't about his cell phone service, and that he had heard the same rumor, that Becca was involved in their father's disappearance.
And he did say, if I find out that you or someone close to you had anything to do with Dad's disappearance, I will put you both in a pine box.
Whatever the reason for the alleged threat, the sheriff files the order of protection to help keep Justin away from Becca. For Sheriff Randy Meeks, it's another strange development that sets this investigation apart.
This case has just been one of the most oddest cases that I've ever worked.
2 days later, on July 15th, Michael's daughter Susie says she gets surprising news concerning his estate. A family friend from the fire department calls to say that her father was recently declared dead.
From what I understand, the sheriff's department has to sign off for that. So how do you sign off on someone that's just been missing? That seems very strange.
What Susie had understood to be a temporary court order allowing Becca to sell Michael's truck is actually a permanent judgment. Michael Chambers was legally declared dead on May 26, 2017, just over 2 months after his disappearance.
I felt horrified. It was such a sickening feeling.
For now, Michael's $750,000 pension will issue monthly payments to Becca Chambers unless Michael turns up alive in the next 3 years. According to law enforcement, Becca's actions continue to be understandable as a means to financially survive the loss of her husband. With no real answers in the case, investigators begin to consider theories beyond foul play.
What really led us to believe that there was not a murder taking place because of the staged blood. The shop was locked, the lights were turned down. There was no sign of a struggle anywhere.
Police start to wonder if Michael Chambers could have staged the crime scene himself in order to walk away from his life. They question his family, and his son-in-law David says that months earlier, he had a strange conversation with Michael that now seems eerily relevant.
We would watch some of these investigative shows on TV, and he says, a person could easily disappear and make it look like an accident, and nobody would ever find him. It'd be very easy to do. Those were the exact words.
At the time, David didn't think it meant much.
It never hit me like, hey, he's thinking about this. It was just, he's a fireman, he's seen so many things. It does seem strange that the exact thing, make it look like an accident and disappear and nobody would ever find you, which is exactly what we're going through.
It was really quite shocking to me. I didn't want to believe it. I still don't want to. But I have to go by what our evidence shows us and what the truth is.
But some in Michael's family say it's an unlikely theory.
I can't unknow my dad. I can't unknow his character. It's not a path he would take.
In October 2017, 7 months after Michael vanished, the sheriff's office brings in a cell phone expert who uses new technology to learn more about Michael's exact route on the day he went missing.
He was able to trace his every movement of that phone the day that Michael Chambers went missing.
When the results of the forensic cell phone analysis come in, they appear to confirm something about Michael Chambers that nobody wants to believe.
This is not an abduction, and this is not going to be a homicide. He left on his own.
Hoping for a breakthrough in the 7-month disappearance of Michael Chambers, sheriff's investigators are using the latest in cell phone forensics to track Michael's movements on the day he disappeared.
We received information that this phone expert would be able to tell us his route that day.
By analyzing data from the phone's transmissions with nearby cell towers, the expert is able to reconstruct Michael's whereabouts far more accurately than by tracing pings.
This phone expert was able to tell us that Michael left his house. That morning, he drove through Quinlan, Texas, drove to the 2 Mile Bridge, which is the bridge over Lake Tawakoni, went past the 2 Mile Bridge and stopped for 10 or 15 minutes.
Investigators look closer at the location where Michael stopped that morning and realize he has a history there.
We discovered that when Becca and Michael had adopted John and Justin, that they lived about 5 or 6 miles from the 2 Mile Bridge.
The cell expert also tells investigators later that day, around 2:30 p.m., Michael went back to the same location.
And that's where the signal of the phone stopped.
But no one in the family knows why Michael would have gone there that day. The cellular expert uses the location and time of pings to determine the speed that Michael was traveling. And that data leads to a revelation.
He was only traveling at 4.2 miles an hour. And it took him about 3 hours to get to the 2 Mile Bridge. That's too fast to walk it and way too slow to be in an automobile or a motorcycle. Well, the only thing that we could figure out was a bicycle.
And that's when they started, does your father have a bike? Well, yeah, they have them. Are they still there? Well, I don't know, I haven't looked.
Sheriff Meeks returns to the Chambers residence to search for Michael's bicycle.
We went back and checked the shop, and they both had a bicycle apiece, Becca and Michael, and one of the bicycles is missing.
Based on the new cell phone evidence, the Sheriff's Department pieces together a fresh theory on what happened the day Michael vanished. They now believe he plotted an elaborate suicide, first staging a crime scene at his home, then going back to his old property past the 2 Mile Bridge and taking his own life. But Michael's possible motive remains undisclosed.
During our investigation, we discovered some things that had happened that we believe would cause Michael Chambers to commit suicide. However, at this time, we're not at liberty to discuss this because this is still an ongoing investigation.
Exactly 11 months after Michael's disappearance, on February 10th, 2018, deputies coordinate another massive search. They now feel they know where to find Michael's body.
We have our Search One team out of Dallas. We have our Criminal Investigation Division. We don't believe it will be good news if we do find something, but we do want to find something so we can put this to rest. We can give the family closure, and we can solve this mystery of Michael Chambers' disappearance.
Michael's family is on the scene for the search.
You hope they don't find something, because if they find something, it's something bad. But you hope for answers as well. So Do I feel that he's here? No, I don't. My gut says no, but I appreciate the effort to try.
After 10 hours, investigators find nothing connected to Michael Chambers, leaving those involved deeply divided over what may have happened to him. The Hunt County Sheriff's Department and many in the Chambers family still believe the evidence indicates that Michael committed suicide. But others find that conclusion hard to accept.
Me knowing Mike, I still don't see him doing that. The only reason would be if maybe he'd done something he was shameful for, something like that. And he knew that something would hurt the family's name. And even then, I'm out of 100%, I'm only giving that 1%. That's just how much I'm giving it, 1%.
Michael's daughter, Susie, wholeheartedly believes her father's disappearance is related to foul play, an opinion that separates her from most of the Chambers family.
Right now we're broken, not because anyone is wrong, not because anyone is right, but we just are processing it differently. Even though my brother and sister and I don't agree on what has happened, we all have the same goal. We all want to know what happened to Dad.
But everyone in the family agrees on one thing. Michael's disappearance has taken a terrible toll on all of them.
The whole situation has just, it's caused a lot of pain, it's caused a lot of emotion.
This has been our last 11 months. This has been our entire life. Every thought, you can't go to bed without thinking about him and wondering where he is.
I just hope at the end of it all, when we have our answers and things are resolved, that we'll remember that Dad loved us all and would want us to all love one another. And we can just put it behind us and move forward in a way that would make him proud.
If you have any information about Michael Chambers or his disappearance, please contact Hunt County Sheriff's Office at 903-453-6809.
Es war der Morgen des 25. August 2017. Ein großer Sturm, Hurrikan Harvey, war ungefähr Texas treffen. Crystal McDowell schickte eine kurze Nachricht an ihr Ex-Mann, fragte, ob er genug habe Trinkwasser für die Kinder. Dann sie stieg in ihren schwarzen Mercedes und fuhr in Richtung seines Hauses. Sie hatte an diesem Tag Pläne. Es zeigt, wie ein Haus renoviert wird, aber sie ist nie erschienen. Sie hat nie geantwortet. Sie hatte ihr Handy verloren und kam nie nach Hause. Der Regen begann stärker zu fallen, Crystal, sie schienen spurlos verschwunden zu sein. Dazu bräuchte man versteckte Kameras, ein Kind, ein stilles Geheimnis und eine schreckliche Entdeckung im Wald. Um schließlich zu enthüllen die Wahrheit. Dies ist die wahre Geschichte von Crystal. MC Dow und der Moment, als sich alles veränderte. Crystal McDowell wurde am 26. Oktober geboren. 1979 in Baytown, Texas. Ihre frühen Jahre waren alles andere als einfach. Aufgewachsen bei ihr Eltern, Pamela und Anthony, Crystals die Kindheit war von Instabilität geprägt. Beide kämpften mit Suchtproblemen und waren nicht in der Lage, ein stabiles Zuhause zu bieten. Tragischerweise starb Crystal im Alter von 11 Jahren. Beide Eltern starben an mutmaßlichen Überdosen. Innerhalb weniger Monate von jedem andere. Nach deren Tod war sie von ihrer Großmutter aufgenommen und später wurde auch von ihrem Onkel Jeff Wallace aufgezogen. Trotz der Schwierigkeiten war Crystal bekannt für ihr strahlendes Lächeln, ihr auffallendes Blauaugen und eine Persönlichkeit, die Licht erstrahlen lassen konnte bis zu jedem Zimmer. Zielstrebig, optimistisch und abenteuerlustig. Crystal wurde Flugbegleiterin, ein Job, das passte perfekt zu ihrem Wesen. Jahrelang bereiste sie das Land. Neue Orte und Menschen kennenlernen. Irgendwann während ihrer Reise, Crystal traf Stephen Wayne McDowell, einen Mann 7 Jahre älter als sie. Wird als sanftmütig beschrieben. Und trotz seiner imposanten Erscheinung eine ruhige Stimme. Bauen, Stephen charmt Crystal. Nachdem sie einige Zeit zusammen waren, heirateten sie im Jahr April 2007. Steven hatte eine Tochter von einer aus seiner vorherigen Ehe. Er arbeitete als Versandleiter, hatte aber Schwierigkeiten damit, eine feste Anstellung behalten. Infolgedessen Crystal wurde zum Hauptlieferanten. Während sie in ihrer Karriere erfolgreich war, Steven blieb beruflich instabil, wodurch ein spürbares Ungleichgewicht entsteht. Beziehung. Das Paar begrüßte 2 Kinder. Kinder zusammen. Äußerlich ihr Zuhause, das Leben schien harmonisch. Aber hinter verschlossenen Türen. Die Spannungen nahmen zu, insbesondere um die Zeit Crystals häufige Reisen. Steven Berichten zufolge wurde sie zunehmend eifersüchtig. Verdächtigte sie der Affären während ihrer Flüge, obwohl es keine Beweise dafür gab, und Treue. Freunde bemerkten, dass Crystal sie schätzte, ihre Familie sehr und priorisierte Stabilität, insbesondere angesichts ihrer schwierigen Erziehung. Im Jahr 2016 machte Crystal eine lebensverändernde Entscheidung. Nach 15 erfolgreiche Jahre als Flugbegleiterin, sie ließ den Himmel hinter sich und schloss sich ihrer das Immobiliengeschäft der Familie. Ermöglichte es ihr, mehr Zeit mit ihr zu verbringen, Kinder und vermittelten ein Gefühl von Beständigkeit. Ihr Onkel Jeff, stolz auf sie Entscheidung, sie als Teil der 3. Generation im Immobiliengeschäft Vermächtnis. Crystal zeichnete sich schnell in ihrem Bereich aus. Neue Rolle. Ihr Charme, ihre Professionalität und ihr Engagement machten sie zu einem aufstrebenden Star in der lokalen Wohnungsmarkt. Jedoch im Privaten vertraute sie sich engen Freunden an. Dass der Berufswechsel auch dazu diente, strategische Zielsetzung. Sie glaubte, dass eine lokale Verankerung würde ihr helfen, das Sorgerecht für ihre Kinder sichern, wenn sie und Steven geschieden. Im Februar 2017 war die Ehe am Ende ihrer Kräfte. Crystal reichte die Scheidung ein und gab jahrelange Ehen als Gründe an emotionale Belastung. Am 20. März, sie rief den Notruf 911 an, um zu melden, dass Steven Drohungen gegen sie und ihre Kinder. Die Behörden behandelten die Situation als Vorsichtsmaßnahme und nicht als Strafsache. Zu diesem Zeitpunkt, wenn keine Sorgerechtsvereinbarungen bestünden, das bedeutete, dass Steven immer noch das gesetzliche Recht hatte, um bei seinen Kindern sein zu können. Beamte versuchten, ihn zu erreichen, aber ihre Bemühungen waren erfolglos. Ein paar Tage später gab er den Kinder, und Crystal beschloss, nicht Anklagen erheben. Stattdessen den Fokus darauf richten, zur Deeskalation von Spannungen im Interesse von ihrer Kinder. Diejenigen, die Crystal nahestanden, sagen, sie tat alles, um sicherzustellen, dass die Scheidung verlief zivilisiert. Ihr Ziel war stets ihr Wohlbefinden im Blick Kinder. Stevens erwachsene Tochter war beunruhigt von den Ereignissen und fragte sie Vater, warum er sich so verhielt. Er behauptete, er habe ihm erklärt, warum er sich so auffällig verhielt. Über angebliche Affären in Wut geraten. Crystal hatte während ihrer Ehe Vorwürfe, dass niemand in ihrem Umfeld wird angenommen, das stimmt. Leute, die das Paar kennen. Sie waren sich einig, dass die Beziehung toxisch gewesen war. Jahrelang. Sogar Stevens Tochter gab zu, dass sie und Crystal sich zwar näher gekommen waren, die Ehe verlief wunderbar. Waren schon immer unbeständig. Trotz ihrer Unterschiede, die Scheidung, abgeschlossen im Juni 2017, schien die Beziehung oberflächlich betrachtet einvernehmlich zu sein. Tatsächlich half Crystal Steven dabei, sie zu finden und ein neues Haus kaufen, während sie arbeitete, sie renoviert eigene. Doch unter dem Anschein von trotz mangelnder Höflichkeit blieben tieferliegende Probleme bestehen. Crystal bat ihre Familie oft darum, sie sollte Steven von ihren Plänen oder Ausflügen erzählen. Aus Angst, er würde ausrasten. Sogar etwas so Unschuldiges wie Zeit verbringen mit einem Freund könnte er getriggert werden. Obwohl Steven offiziell geschieden war, schien er unfähig oder nicht bereit zu akzeptieren Realität. Seine Aktivitäten in den sozialen Medien offenbarte ein beunruhigendes Muster. Kurz darauf nach der Scheidung änderte er seine Profilfoto zu einem Bild von Grabstein. Dann zu einem der Santa Muerte, bevor wieder zu einem Bild von ihn und Crystal. Seine Beiträge zeichneten das Bild eines glücklichen, unversehrten Familie. Unterdessen fuhr Crystal fort, Steven emotional unterstützen, regelmäßig nachfragen, sie trafen sich regelmäßig mit ihm. Er versicherte ihr, dass er sich mit der Trennung abfindig zu machen und versucht, sein Leben wieder in den Griff zu bekommen. Er war auf dem richtigen Weg. Doch seine Taten sprachen eine andere Sprache. Geschichte. Eine von Crystals Tanten bemerkte, dass Steven häufig darüber schrieb, Crystal Kaffee ans Bett bringen, und er verwöhnte sie. Als ob ihre Beziehung war noch unversehrt. In einem letzten Versuch, eine friedliche Koelternschaft, Crystal plante eine Kreuzfahrt mit Steven und die Kinder. Aber die Nähe verschwamm nur noch. Grenzen weiter. Dann, im August 2017 änderte sich etwas. Crystal, jetzt 37, traf Paul, einen ortsansässigen Juwelier und Kollegen, alleinerziehend. Paul war charismatisch, angetrieben und teilte Crystals Liebe zu Reisen und Abenteuer. Ihre Bindung war sofort, und zum ersten Mal in einem lange Zeit fühlte Crystal sich wirklich glücklich. Obwohl sie ihrer Familie davon erzählte, sie bat sie, es privat zu halten. Bis sie den richtigen Moment fand, teile es mit Steven. Trotz dessen, obwohl sie rechtskräftig geschieden war, fürchtete sie sich immer noch vor ihm. Reaktion. Diese Angst hielt sie nicht davon ab, öffentlich ihre Freude. Am 23. August postete sie auf soziale Medien, die sie noch nie genutzt hatte. Sie war glücklich und ihr Herz war voller Freude. Eine Freude, die sie nie für möglich gehalten hätte. Gott ist so gut, sagte sie. Schrieb er. 2 Tage später, am 25. August. Hurrikan Harvey drohte. Crystal wachte auf. Bei Paul zu Hause, in Vorbereitung auf die Konfrontation mit Sturm und ihre Verantwortung für die Tag. Um 7:01 Uhr morgens schrieb sie Steven eine SMS an. Er fragte, ob er sich mit sauberem Wasser eingedeckt habe. Für die Kinder, und teilte ihm mit, dass er ging zu seinem Haus, um dort Schutz zu suchen. Sie plante, ein Anwesen zu besuchen. Anschließend zur Vorführung. Pauls Sicherheitskameras haben die letzten bekannten Bilder aufgenommen von Crystal an diesem Morgen. Als erstes in der Küche, dann draußen in High Heels spazieren gehen und hielt ihr Handy in der Hand, während sie einstieg, ihr schwarzes Mercedes-Benz. Sie wurde nie gesehen. Wieder. Später an diesem Tag, Crystals Onkel Jeff war besorgt. Sie arbeiteten eng im Immobiliengeschäft tätig und er sprach regelmäßig mit ihr. Er versuchte, sie anzurufen. Mehrmals, um sie darüber zu informieren, dass die Vorführung war aufgrund der Sturm. Als sie nicht reagierte, Jeff: Ich habe Steven kontaktiert, der geantwortet hat mit einer verdächtige SMS. Die angeblich von Crystals Telefon klingelte um 9:30 Uhr und sagte, ich hatte geplant, die Kinder abzuholen und zu fahren Dallas. Jeff wuchs sofort verdächtig. Crystal hat ihre Pläne nie geändert. Ohne ihn darüber zu informieren, und ihr Telefon war ihr Lebenselixier. Arbeit, Termine, alles wurde darüber abgewickelt. Irgendwas stimmte nicht. Aus Angst vor dem im schlimmsten Fall kontaktierte er die Polizei, um Anzeige zu erstatten. Sie wurde vor Mittag desselben Tages vermisst. Am 26. August, als die Fluten von Hurrikan Harvey fegte durch Houston. Jeff und 2 Familienmitglieder wurden konfrontiert. Steven behauptete, Crystal hätte das nicht getan. Ich bin seit über einer Woche bei ihm zu Hause, aber seine Tochter sagte Jeff etwas anderes. Sie hatte ihre Mutter an diesem Tag umarmt. Zuvor. Am selben Tag, ein stellvertretender Sheriff besuchte Stevens Haus für eine Wohlfahrtskontrolle. Als die Behörden eintraten im Haus von Stephen McDowell, fanden sie nicht nur Crystals schwarzes Kleid in der Wäschemaschine, aber auch ihre Geldbörse und Handtasche. Deutliche Anzeichen dafür, dass sie erst kürzlich dort gewesen war. Für ihren Onkel Jeff, der bei der Erziehung geholfen hatte, für sie war es unbestreitbar. Steven war in ihr Verschwinden verwickelt. Aber das Timing hätte nicht besser sein können. Schlimmer noch. Hurrikan Harvey hatte verheerende Schäden angerichtet. Die Region. Viele Strafverfolgungsbehördenbeamte, Ersthelfer und sogar die Bezirksbeamten hatten mit Folgendem zu tun: überflutete Häuser und Rettungseinsätze. Infolgedessen gerieten die Ermittlungen ins Stocken. Bevor es überhaupt anfangen konnte. Verzweifelt auf der Suche nach Antworten wandte sich Jeff an die Medien, in der Hoffnung, das Bewusstsein zu schärfen und Leads generieren. Aber seine Bemühungen waren buchstäblich ertrunken von Sturm rund um die Uhr Berichterstattung. Die Tage vergehen und keine Berichterstattung. Um Fortschritte zu erzielen, heuerte er einen privaten Ermittler. Frustriert von der Stille von den lokalen Behörden, diese Maßnahme löste heftige Reaktionen aus. Der örtliche Polizeichef und der Bezirk der Anwalt legte entschieden Einspruch gegen eine externe Ermittler betritt Crystals Haus, mit der Begründung, dass entscheidende Beweise sein könnten beeinträchtigt oder zerstört. Spannungen zwischen der Familie McDowell, dem Gesetzdurchsetzung und sogar lokale Medien in die Situation in Houston eskalierte. Jeff und Crystals neuer Partner, Paul, hat sich mit ihr zusammengetan. Um eine Belohnung von $15.000 für jeden glaubwürdige Informationen. Sie starteten eine Social-Media-Kampagne, die schließlich öffentlich Aufmerksamkeit. Aber in den Augen von die Ermittler, der Verdacht fiel nicht nur auf Steven, aber auch auf Jeff und Paul. Trotz Jeffs unermüdlicher Suche nach Christo, von den Strafverfolgungsbehörden behandelt mit Skepsis. Gerüchte über sein Privatleben, nämlich seine gleichgeschlechtlichen Beziehungen, die im Umlauf waren in der konservativen Stadt Betown. Manche glauben, dass diese Vorurteile, die so sahen die Behörden seine Beteiligung. Der örtliche Polizeikommandant, sogar Jeffs Bedenken wurden in einer nationalen Sendung zurückgewiesen. In der Sendung wurde er als übermäßig emotional bezeichnet. Und ein Hindernis für den Fall. Paul auch Hargrave blieb nicht verschont. Sich einem Lügendetektortest unterziehen uneindeutige Ergebnisse, seine Glaubwürdigkeit wurde befragt. Er verschlimmerte die Situation. Die Augen des Ermittlers durchsenden Überwachungsaufnahmen von seinem Haus bis Nachrichtensender. Anstatt es zu übergeben direkt zum Gesetzdurchsetzung. Paul verteidigte sein Vorgehen. Er sagte, er habe versucht, die Videos zur Verfügung zu stellen. Das Sheriffbüro fühlte sich aber ignoriert. Also wandte er sich mit seinem Fall an die Öffentlichkeit. Seinen Namen reinwaschen. Und dann war da noch Steven. Trotz seiner emotional manipulatives Verhalten Drohung mit Selbstverletzung, falls Crystal jemals er wurde verlassen, aber von Ermittlern gesehen. Als höflich, hilfsbereit und kooperativ. Während Familie und Freunde die Ehe als zutiefst ungesund und gekennzeichnet durch Kontrolle. Behörden nicht ansehen Steven als potenzielle Bedrohung oder als Mann, er suchte Rache für die Scheidung. Das alles begann sich am Dienstag zu ändern. August 2029. Als das Hochwasser zurückging, ein Freund der Familie entdeckte Crystals schwarze Mercedes-Benz parkte vor einem heruntergekommenen Gebäude-Motel. Ein Gebiet, das während der Online-Prüfungen als problematisch eingestuft wurde. Kampagne. Die Autotüren waren unverschlossen. Und die Schlüssel lagen in der Konsole. Die Ermittler glaubten, es sei gewesen inszeniert für einen Diebstahl. Aber aufgrund des Sturms durch den Aufprall war der überflutete Parkplatz beschädigt worden. Unzugänglich. Überwachungsaufnahmen aus der Nähe Geschäfte zeigten, wie Crystals Auto einfuhr auf dem Motelparkplatz am 26. August um 6:37 Uhr morgens. An dem Tag, an dem sie verschwand. Nur 5 Stunden später war Steven auf Überwachungskameras einer nahegelegenen Tankstelle aufgenommen. Er hat kein Benzin gekauft. Stattdessen ist er gefahren. In Richtung Motel, scheinbar beim Einchecken prüfen sie, ob das Auto unberührt geblieben ist. Noch erschreckender sind andere Überwachungsmaßnahmen. Eine vermummte Gestalt erfasste, die zu Stevens Konstruktion fährt mit dem Fahrrad durch den Regen in der Nähe des Motels am selben Tag morgens. Die Hinweise verdichteten sich, und zum ersten Mal richteten sich alle Blicke auf Steven, nicht als trauernder Ex-Ehemann, aber als potenzieller Verdächtiger in einem Fall, das viel zu lange geschwiegen hatte. Die Ermittlungen nahmen eine dramatische Wendung, als Überwachungsaufnahmen von einem Walmart direkt gegenüber der Autobahn gelegenen Motel, in dem Crystals Auto gefunden wurde, zeigte einen Mann, der Stephen McDowell ähnelte. Frühzeitig ein Fahrrad kaufen morgen des 26. August 2017. Er zahlte bar und der Zeitpunkt perfekt ausgerichtet auf die Sichtlinie eine vermummte Gestalt auf einem Fahrrad in der Nähe des Tatorts. Trotz dieser erdrückenden Beweise Stephen bestritt jegliche Beteiligung an Crystals Verschwinden. Behörden begründen dies mit einem Mangel, der direkte Beweis erlaubte ihm die Rückkehr zu Hause bei seinen Kindern. Crystals Familie war empört. Jeff, ihr Onkel, erinnerte sie daran, der Bezirksstaatsanwalt, den Crystal hatte zuvor einen Bericht eingereicht. In dem Stephen aussagte, hatten gedroht, ihren Kindern etwas anzutun, wenn sie hat ihn jemals verlassen. Für Jeff war der Mann. Psychische und emotionale Instabilität war unbestreitbar. Es geschah erst im September. Am 8. Fast 2 Wochen nachdem sie verschwand, dass der Bezirksstaatsanwalt schließlich griff er ein. Die Kinder waren in Schutzhaft genommen und Stephen wurde zum Verhör vorgeführt. Selbst dann diktierte Stephen die Bedingungen. Sie wurden gebeten, für eine letzte Nacht nach Hause zurückzukehren. Um die Dinge in Ordnung zu bringen, und versprach, beichten sie das nächste Morgen. Jeff und andere Angehörige waren wütend. Sie glaubten, dass dies unbeaufsichtigt sei. Die Zeit könnte Stephen die Gelegenheit geben, sich das Leben nehmen und fliehen Gerechtigkeit. Aber am 9. September 2017 hielt Stephen sein Wort. Er kehrte zurück. Er ging zur Wache und gestand. Ermittler, das während einer hitzigen Auseinandersetzung im Streitfall teilte Crystal ihm mit, dass sie nahm ihren neuen Freund Paul mit auf eine bevorstehende Familienreise und nicht er. Sie war gerade von einem Aufenthalt zurückgekehrt mit Paul, was Stephen wütend machte. Ihre Kinder schliefen oben, er griff sie von hinten an und erwürgte sie zu Tode. Nach dem Mord wickelte Stephen sie ein. Der Körper in eine Decke gewickelt, legte man in die Kofferraum seines Wagens und vor Sonnenaufgang fuhr in ein Waldgebiet in der Nähe seines Hauses, wo er sie entsorgte, bleibt. Selbst mit dem Geständnis, Stephen weigerte sich, den Standort preiszugeben. Der Leiche, es sei denn, die Staatsanwaltschaft stimmte zu, nicht die Todesstrafe anzustreben. Angesichts der Schäden, die durch Hurrikan Harvey verursacht wurden, und die verstrichene Zeit, Behörden befürchtete, der Leichnam sei unmöglich zu bergen. Sie konnten sie ohne seine Hilfe finden. Sie hatten zugestimmt, den Deal. Später an diesem Tag führte Stephen Behörden in ein abgelegenes, verwildertes Gebiet. Crystals Überreste wurden in einem fortgeschrittener Zustand Zersetzung. Stephen McDowell, damals 44, wurde wegen Mordes 1. Grades angeklagt. Die Kaution wurde auf $500.000